What is going on? What is going on? What is going on? It is your boy, Coach Dee Brown, former big leaguer, former first round pick. And man, we dolo, we are solo so far, but we are coming and we being joined by Coach Proietti in a minute. I wanted to make sure that I come on. I just saw him log in now. So we should be ready to go in a minute. I just wanted to make sure I got him online and see what's going on. So let me stream him in and see what's going on and see how this is going to work here. Coach, can you hear me?
Hello. Hey, D, how you doing?
Coach, how you doing, man? I'm doing good, man.
Good, good. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. You're on live right now, man. So we usually get the video streaming thing, but you first one. All right, we gonna just do the phone thing. All right, can you stream in or no?
I'm driving right now. Let me get to my destination here. I'll be able to. 1
All right,
second.
all right, good deal.
I'm just
All right,
on
don't
the
worry about it.
I'm just on the road.
So yeah, so anyway, we are joined today, all right, by St. Peter's University out there in Jersey. All right, Coach Lou. How come? And I'm saying, Coach Proietti. I'm saying it right.
Yep, Proietti, exactly.
All right, cool. I'm gonna call you Coach Pro. All right, Coach Pro. So we we joined by Coach Pro today, man, and he'll be streaming in a little bit here. But I definitely am happy to have him on today and talk a little St. Peter's, St. Peter's University baseball, man. I had my boy. I know. Yes, last year you had one of my one of the coaches on your staff was my former teammate Richie Bennis. He done moved on to the pro game, back to the pro game. But we have had a St. Pete, guy represented over here. So, but you got some fans over here. Peacock Baseball is definitely in the house. So, Coach, I love to have my guests come on and share their story, man, who they are and their background and how you became coach of St. Peter's University. So tell a little background, where you from. There you go. All right. What's up, Coach? All right.
Yeah. How you doing? How you doing?
I'm doing good. So tell me a little
Absolutely.
background, bro.
So I grew growing up, played, when I was little, started when I was 4, played T-ball, little league, that whole thing, and had a great experience. Just playing with my friends in the backyard, at the field. Whenever I was playing, I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed my time. And I got to play with some great teammates. Growing up, who ended up becoming best friends. And always wanted to kind of be an educator, be a teacher, and tried teaching for a couple years in the classroom, which was great. But I always wanted to be involved in baseball, and I found that when you teach a subject everybody loves, it makes it so much better, and that's what it is with coaching, man. You get to teach a subject, and everybody truly loves the subject, and so that's what I knew. Get to in the college game, you got to grind a little bit to create opportunities for yourself. So that was something that I did where I put my time in as an assistant coach, as a volunteer, and that's how you learn. You learn from quality head coaches and other people, and being on the road and working camps, and just like I said, there's no real shortcut to it. You just gotta kind of put the work in and keep your ears open and listen to people who've been around the game, and that'll help shape your own philosophy, I think. And so that's kind of what I did. I was at Rider University for 3 years, which is in the same conference as St. Peter's now. I went to Stonehill College, which is a Division II school, for 4 years, and I got the opportunity last summer as the head coach of St. Peter's. And so something that, you've been working for your whole life. It's now it's time to take advantage of it, and that's what we're trying to do. So even though there's a pandemic, that's not going to stop us. It's just like baseball. It's all about adjustments here. So that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, you guys got hit pretty hard up there, man, up in that Jersey area, man. How did that really affect your recruiting, man? Because a lot of people from New York, New Jersey, man, you guys are hit extremely hard. You know what I'm saying? So and I'm talking about straight lockdown for a while. Has that affected the 2021 class or any other classes behind it, or were you okay? Were you ahead of time when it came to the recruiting aspect of it?
I cut out there. I think you said how has it affected our
Yeah, recruiting. Yeah, how's that COVID affect your recruiting? You know, because I know you guys got hit hard up there in Jersey.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of video, a lot of watching live stream video, a lot of phone calls, a lot of, trying to keep building relationships. We were limited the road, but expanding my network of AAU and high school coaches that I know, or continuing to build upon the ones I do have already. We had to continue to recruit, and the talent's still out there, and kids are finding a way to get better. And so as coaches, we had to find a way to, keep finding that talent. And so a lot of it was just on the phone and the computer, really. We watched a lot of video during that time. So.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like from the likes of talking to all y'all, man, y'all y'all had to be some video warriors out there this last few months, man. And just have you found, like, from a coaching standpoint that, well, we don't lost coach. You still coach. All right, hopefully you try, log back in. I'm trying to get him. You got that walking around out there in the Jersey streets out there. But all right, you back. You hear me? Can you hear me, coach? Can you hear me?
what's going on here?
You got me? Can you hear me? All right. Well, listen. That's two this week. He'll come back on, and I'll bring him back in, man. We the beauty of doing the live shows, man, and these guys they want to come on, got their own life, and he's coming back on. But I want to, I appreciate them doing and spending any time with us. So let me see, Coach, you got me?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I lost you there for a second.
Yeah, you good. I was just
I know you. I
was just asking. I said from a coaching. I was saying from a coaching standpoint, how has this COVID and the video, how has this increased your coaching as far as recruiting skills and, kind of, being, having to shoot from, just videos and give offers straight from videos. Have you felt like this has challenged you as a coach when it comes to, evaluating players?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's a challenge. You, as a coach, want to see, I want to see how a kid hustles on and off the field, how they interact with their teammates, how are they on the top step when they're not at bat, or how do they handle a bad call from an umpire? How does a pitcher come from the bullpen to the mound, and all those little things that you've kind of looked for your whole life at games. You don't have the opportunity to do that. So at that point, you're looking at obviously what you see on the video, but also trying to combine that with the conversations you're having with their coaches. What kind of player are they? Are they the first of the facility? Do they stay extra? Are they all in on this? Because being a Division I college athlete, you got to be all in. It's not something that you're not sure, or you want to toe the line. Like, you're either all in or you're not. And so trying to figure out their level of commitment is something that you got to work a little bit harder to do, but there was no real recipe for it anyway. You just make up's a funny thing that you can think what a kid's made up of, but at the end of the day, you really don't. And so that's why you got to kind of pull a faith in the kid. But it is a little bit more of a difficult process, not being able to see those intangibles, where you're just kind of looking at skill set and going from there.
Now, speaking of, like it's funny, like you guys just, I mean, guys, meaning coaches, you guys just kind of glance over these things, right? But I'm always intrigued to find, like, I forgot what coach was on the other day, and he was talking about, speaking of running on and off the field, and he was like, I like to see a guy run on off the field so I can see his form, and it lets me know how athletic he is, or I like to see how.
I'm sorry, Dee, I can't hear anything right now.
Oh, you can't hear me right now?
I can see you. I just can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me? Check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
There? Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? 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 Yeah, I don't know.
I can see it. I just can't hear you right now, buddy.
Yeah, I can hear you. We hear you. We hear you fine. You just can't hear us, huh? So, all right, I don't know. I don't know. Can you still can't hear us? Yeah. Listen. All right, the beauty of live. He'll come back on and we'll just play this game back and forth, man. All right. Next time I need to tell these coaches like, yo, I need to be in your desk or something, man. Because when y'all moving around, it sucks. And trust me, I've been there too. When I'm driving and you commit to these times, and sometimes stuff happens and you just get stuck where you have to make it happen, man. He got some jewels in his head too. I could tell. All right, So anyway, Henry, no doubt, man. You are doing great things. This helps a lot, no doubt, man. I this is why I do it. It was funny. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today, and we were talking about some of these showcases we're going to be doing this fall, and we had mentioned about all the coaches that I have been contacting and talking to, and it was just and it's been great. But let me try to get Coach Proietti back on here. Hold on 1 second. All right. Coach, can you hear me?
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, I can hear you now, man. I can hear you now.
All right. Do me a favor, Coach. If you could just stay right there, and once you get that good signal, don't go nowhere. All right, stay right there if you can.
I'm standing right here.
All right, cool.
All
right, cool. So, all right. But I was saying, I love when you guys just kind of just briefly talk about why you like being at the field and what you guys look for in a player. And you just said how he runs on and off, how he stands on the top step. Congratulating his teammates, and it's one of those that's well known. But then when you say it, like a Division I coach says these things, right? I hope parents relay those messages to those kids. You know what I'm saying? Because again, when you're at the Division I level, the talent is like this. You know what I'm saying? And you need these separators and little stuff like that, man. If you could dive deeper, when you say you can't measure the heart part, right? When you're watching on video and stuff like that. And okay. All right. So my thing is, what are some of the things besides, the little things that shows you when you are watching somebody in person that this kid got heart? He's different. What separates these kids? You know what I'm saying? When you out there evaluating them.
A lot of the times it's the way they handle failure. If a kid, I like seeing how a kid offensively strikes out. Does he go back to the dugout, throw his bat and helmet and kind of sit there, or does he give the on deck hitter maybe hey, watch out for first pitch breaking ball or something that even though he failed in his at bat, he can at least share that information with a teammate, knowing that even though he failed in that experience, maybe there's something that that can help a teammate and in the long run help our team. And I think that's a mindset. Just buying into being a part of something bigger than yourself, and just having that competitive mindset that, okay, maybe he got me that particular at bat, but I'm going to pass information to my teammate, or I'm going to write down information in my notebook, or I'm going to come back to that next AB and know, all right, now I have whatever else to go on. So I think the way they handle failure is definitely an indicator, because there's so much failure that can be built into baseball. The way, with our hitters, they don't love hitting off the pitching machine, the hack attack, where we get it going, 90, 92, 94, because there's a high failure rate. But for them to get acclimated to the speed of the game and that kind of velocity, the only way to do it is to see it over and over and over. And, obviously it's a lot more fun to take, regular BP and be able to drive balls all over the field. But, we find it to be very beneficial getting guys uncomfortable at the plate, because in the game, that's what they're going to be, right? So the way they fail and the way they handle failure, I think is a big indicator on how successful they'll be.
I love that, man. I love everything you just said. We just, coaching staff for the Pirates, we had that conversation about, especially in spring training, about letting these kids fail. Like, why just groove balls and have them hit on and give them these, because essentially, that's what I like as a hitter. But he was like, no, change it up. Throw if you could without blowing up your arm and your elbow, but, mix up the speed, mix up the location. And we were heavy on the machines, you know what I'm saying? I hated machines coming up. You know what I'm saying again, but
Yep.
it sounds
Yep.
like you guys use the machines often, huh?
We do. We try to. We use the analogy of when you first get your license. When you first get your driver's license, you're driving on the highway. 65 feels a lot faster than 65, and cars are zooming by you. You got two hands on the wheel, and you're uncomfortable. And flash forward 3 months, all of a sudden you're in the left lane. You got one hand on the wheel. You're changing station. You're driving 75. You're just acclimated to the speed. And that it's the same thing with hitting a baseball and seeing a baseball. The more you see it, the more your brain and body gets acclimated to it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, man, especially from a practice standpoint. And put them in low. I mean, that's the only way they know how to, obviously hit against, tough pitching. But how do you try to create? I mean, you're a Division I coach. How do you try to create? Obviously, there's a heavy competition, but in practice, in game type of, in practice setting, how do you prepare your guys for that end of the, that seventh, eighth, ninth inning of the game with things on the line? From a practice standpoint, how do you separate? Get your kids ready for that big moment here in the end of the games? How does that work for you?
We try and put them in as many game-like situations as possible through inter squads. We'll start innings with runners on bases. Both offensively and defensively. Can we maximize offensively? Can we minimize on defense? The more I think high leverage situations guys are actually on the game mound in, the more comfortable they're going to be, hopefully in that situation. And a heartbeat will stay slow. They'll breathe and they'll just be familiar because they've already at least felt, what that situation feels like before. We try and make as many competitive situations in practice as we can, whether it's, we inter squad as often as we can, or something as simple as just, we'll pair guys up in BP and say, all right, today you're matching up with so-and-so and it's head to head, you see who goes and wins. And we'll just try and, find little ways to be competitive so that they're holding themselves accountable for every swing and every pitch they make really is what it's about, and making sure that we're going at game speed so that when the game does, start, and we say it all the time in the fall, and we tell the freshmen and the transfers, the game's going to speed up in the spring. And they're like, yeah, dude. And then they're like, Coach, you were right, man. I can't believe how much faster that game is once the lights turn on. So, we try and simulate it as much as we can, but once the dynamics there, where you're down at wherever Georgia Tech and the lights are on and there's umpire and you're trying to get this first team All-American out, you better be able to rely on whatever level of preparation you put in up until that point.
Man, I love that, man. So, I mean, I know it's hard to explain to me or parents that are out there. So, everybody wants to be D1, right? All the kids want to be D1. So, tell me how much, if you could, as best you can, how speaking of speeding up, all right, because sometimes, especially parents that they understand the game, but if they ain't they haven't played it themselves at a high level, there's just a visual, game speed up, why you didn't get to that ball, why is it that much faster, what I'm saying? So how much does a game speed up from a high school level to a Division I level?
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely, from how hard balls are hit, to how long you have to throw a guy out, to the depth of a breaking ball, to the velo, to the ability to execute a pitch in a certain location. Just everything's magnified, and defensively, you have to be that much more efficient with your footwork. Offensively, you have to have that much better of an approach, because in high school, you may get, I don't know, 50% of the balls that you see are right over the middle of the plate because guys are just trying to throw strikes. At our level, guys are trying to throw well executed strikes at the knees, on the corners. So you may only get one mistake pitch a game. You better hit that pitch if you're only going to see one a game, obviously depending on the pitcher. So, I think your margin for error is a lot smaller. I think the route you take the ball has got to be more efficient. You have less time to throw runners out. Base runners make better decisions. Everything. You got to get better jumps off the pitchers. The catchers are a little bit better. Any way that you could get an advantage, whether it's, putting yourself in a better defensive position, or even like having a load that allows you to get to, balls with some velo. There are subtle ways that allow you to adjust and acclimate to the speed of the game, but there's definitely a jump and a difference in the speed.
All right. Let me get this question. All right. Henry asked, and then we're gonna learn a little bit more about St. Peter's.
Mhm.
As a coach slash parent of a player, it is hard to try to send his things to college coaches. As a former college coach slash player, and being around professional baseball, I didn't like to talk to the parents unless I needed personal info. What do the college coaches recommend for a person like me? I'm in that position right now. I know as a coach, I need to reach out to college coaches, but then again, I'm a dad and I'm afraid coaches will just put his videos to the side.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like we talked about, we are getting an influx in videos and those kinds of things. I think it's a personal preference. Every organization, every coach. I do like when the players themselves reach out. I think there's some accountability to that. I think it shows a desire to want to compete at the next level and willing to put in the work and time to make that happen. But I also understand on the flip side that part of the process is getting the parents involved, especially when the financial backing can sometimes come from them, and you want the parents to be comfortable with the fit in the situation and the residence halls and everything. So I think the initial interaction should be with the player, and then as the recruiting process goes and you get a little further along, and things like finances and logistics start to factor in, I think that's when parents definitely should be getting involved. And but initially, to hear from the player himself, that goes a long way. For us, once these guys come to us, the next step for them is the real world, whether it's pro ball or whether it's a job. And so we're trying to teach transferable skill sets that are going to allow them to be successful afterwards and whatever it is they do. And at some point they got to learn to take accountability and ownership. And so, like, for example, I'll never talk to a parent about playing time, not necessarily because I don't want to, just because I think that that's a skill that our players need to learn, how to approach me, a supervisor, whoever, in a constructive manner, whether it's about playing time, a raise, time off, whatever that conversation is. They have to be able to do that, and that's a skill set. And so, we try and frame it that way so that our guys are continuing to learn and grow. And like I said, the next step for them is real life, and so we want to make sure that they're ready to hit the ground running when that time comes.
All right, good deal. I like it. So, we didn't even talk about it. All right, so let's talk about location of St. Peter's. All right, where is St. Peter's University located?
We are in Jersey City, New Jersey. We are right across the Hudson River from New York City. We're able to see the Manhattan skyline from our campus. As a matter of fact, I can see the Empire State Building from our third base coach's box. So
Wow.
we're right in the heart of the city, and it's exciting. Our guys love it. Our guys love the location. We have a really strong business school because of how close we are to the city. A lot of professors are CEOs, COOs of businesses in Manhattan, and then they come over and they're also professors. So it gives our guys a great opportunity to learn from people who are successful firsthand, and most importantly, build a network. Build a network of the kind of people you wanna help further your career. So the location's real great in terms of those kinds of things, and we're a small Jesuit institution, about 3,500 students. We're in the MAC, the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. Yeah, and our schedule takes us mostly up the East Coast. Like I said, it's our first year, but because we're in that Northeast corridor, there's a good amount of midweek schools that are nice and close that allow us to get a bunch of games in against a lot of different universities, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, this is if you want that city experience, because I think sometimes people, especially, have never been um, up north and understand the dynamic between New Jersey and New York. They think New Jersey and New York is like going from here to Africa, but essentially it's extremely close. I mean, you just said the Empire State Building. You could see from, a lot of people don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? From that having
Mm-hmm.
been in that area, but
Yep.
how has that been a recruiting tool for you Or has that, I guess it just depends on the kid, but has that been a recruiting tool? Like, hey, literally we're 30 minutes away, you know what I'm saying, from smack dab in the middle of the city,
Well, I mean, yeah, that was a huge recruiting tool for us. And then for a couple of months, it was actually hurting us, to be honest, with the pandemic.
Oh yeah,
We
yeah,
couldn't,
yeah.
which was like the complete opposite of what it's ever been. Typically it's about New York City's great and all those kinds of things, but that's kind of actually it's died down, to be honest, and things have gotten a lot better where we are.
Yeah.
We're it sounds like New Jersey, New York, in a good spot, but like I said, there's just a ton of great opportunities. Whether you got Major League Baseball head office there, you got MLB TV's headquarters in Secaucus, New Jersey, right down the road. And countless other opportunities, whether in sports or business. So, our goal for every guy that we bring in is to get them paid to play one day. But the secondary goal is for them to leave St. Peter's with a skill set and a network that's going to allow them to be successful. And so we want them to start to build that network while they're in school. I think that's a part of the process of going to school. You're paying money to go. You got to take advantage of all the resources and opportunities that come with it. And so part of our job is to help them navigate that whole process.
All right. So speaking of, paying to go to school, you said 3,500 enrollment. Let me ask as far as the cost. Private school.
Yep.
What are the costs that goes along with playing and going to St. Peter's?
Well, so the tuition, the cost is 52,000. That being said, our school does a really good job giving substantial academic packages. Roughly ballpark, our average academic package is anywhere in the 21 to 24, 25,000 range. So, the school does a pretty good job right off the bat of taking a big chunk out of the tuition with the academic package. And then with baseball, we're partially funded. So we're able to supplement baseball money on top of the academic package and put together a decent little package that makes it affordable. And, that's how we do it. And, the sticker price is high, but there are ways that you can go about, trying to find scholarships or obviously being able to package academic with baseball makes life a lot easier for us. So that's how we go about making it affordable for guys.
All right. As far as dorms and stuff like that, people may think Jersey is just as, like I said, maybe thinking wood, or the people may think it's extremely city. Urban, I should say. So what are how are the dorm life? How does that work? Apartments, anything like that?
Yeah. So we have residence halls and we have apartments as well that the school owns. So, typically the underclassmen will stay in the residence halls. Typically the freshman and sophomore year. Sometimes if a sophomore plays his cards right, they're able to get their way into apartment if they room with the right teammate. But typically juniors and seniors will then move into the school-owned apartments. Because we're so close to the city, housing can be tricky if you decide to go outside of res life, outside of the school. So the vast majority of our guys end up living on campus through through apartment housing all 4 years, which sometimes it differs school to school. Sometimes guys move off, sometimes they stay on, but just because of where our location is and the cost of the housing, it makes sense for our guys to stay all 4 years on campus.
All right. Russ says, are you allowed to recruit kids from the high school? And if so, what grade? The St. Peter's, I guess, private school, I guess,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yep, we can recruit kids from St. Peter's Prep. We're allowed to we're only allowed to start having conversations at your junior year, starting your junior year September 1st. But we can evaluate. We can always evaluate at any time, really. So if there's a freshman on varsity, for example, we can watch and evaluate. We can't necessarily approach them, but we definitely evaluate and keep notes. And we have a database on each year's recruiting class. 21s, 22s, 23s. So within that database, we'll keep the information. And we're always looking for talent at every age.
Okay. My boy Tony, shout out to my boy Tony over there. He coaches at Cerritos in California, JC. How many JUCO players do you recruit?
You know, we don't have a set number. This year we're bringing in, I want to say 4. So yeah, I mean, I was a JUCO product myself. You know, I went to I went to
Hey,
JUCO and then went to Division
Coach,
One.
before you start, let me just, I didn't mean to cut you off, but parents
Go ahead.
listening in, okay, we had you on. I promise you, Coach. I'm gonna do the stat. I didn't mean to cut you off. Please keep that thought. All right. I just, again, I'm a big advocate in junior colleges. Okay, so I promise you, every guest that comes over on here, all right, everyone. Yesterday we had Troy University head coach, and he talked about how he started in the college level. All right, so
Mm-hmm.
gosh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep stopping this because I promise you, all 80 or so interviews I've had, all right, I
Yep.
guarantee you, at least 80% of the dudes. I'm talking about guys that went on to the big leagues or coaching in the minor leagues or coaching D1 programs like yourself. All you guys have started, either playing in junior college or coaching at
Mm-hmm.
the junior college level. So again, go back, coach. But just here, parents, y'all know how I feel about junior college. Here's another one. He just said started at junior college again. But anyway, go ahead. Sorry about that, coach.
No, and just to kind of further that, my experience at JUCO was unbelievable, and like we said, it's about creating your own opportunities, and that's what junior college allows you to do. You know, and I was fortunate. I played at Potomac State, which is in West Virginia, for a really good head coach in Doug Little, who a lot of the things we did, I use today still in my program, and so yeah, it's such a viable option, and there's so many great opportunities that come from it. You know, I couldn't say enough about my experience. We went to the JUCO World Series in Grand Junction, and to this day, I think that's the best baseball experience of my life. It was outstanding, and you know, just so I went from junior college to UMass Amherst, another D1 program. I was hitting 7th at my JUCO, and then at UMass I was hitting 3rd. So it's you know, there's some really good players at the JUCO level.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, just to reiterate what you're saying, I think it really is, and on the recruiting side, you know, it's great because you get to see, first of all, you got a guy who's been through 2 fall balls, because I don't think high school players necessarily understand how important and how big fall ball is at the college level. I think sometimes guys think fall ball is the time to get in shape for the spring, and no. Fall ball is the time to establish your role for the spring. You got to come in and hit the ground running, you know. And I think guys who have been to JUCO seen that, know that, and so they understand. And so that's a cultural thing, and that's a thing I want in our program, that you know, you can establish a role for yourself, you know, in the fall if you come out and grind and you know, earn your spot. So I think that's a message that JUCO guys can help me or our coaching staff reiterate, because high school guys just don't know any better, really. So
I love what you said, man. So, how often is that? I mean, it sounds like that's again a clash of culture, but how is it important? I mean, I'm sure these kids don't come in as far as like lackadaisical and chilling out, thinking like, oh, like you said, I'm just gonna get in shape for the spring. But how is it at a Division 1? Because you guys, I think four games. You guys only allowed 4 weekends or something. How does that work? You know, how many games can you play in the fall? You know what I'm saying? You only allowed
we're
four
only allowed
games,
2.
right?
We're only allowed 2 outside games now. They've actually made it 2, but we inter squad a ton, so that's where we'll get our games in. But yeah, we'll usually play 2 other JUCOs in the fall, because it allows us to play and then also recruit at the same time. You know, so we'll play 2 JUCOs, but yeah, we're only going to play 2 games in the fall. So you know, I think I think hard work is relative. It's all in the eye of the beholder. You know, some guys, and they are working hard, but they don't really also understand what real hard work looks like, you know. And so when they get a taste of that, and when they understand they got, you know, just going to 3 team lifts a week on, you know, that's good, but that's the basics, right? And so we got to supplement our own lifts. We got to hit in the cage on
Mm,
our own. We got to do this on. We got to long toss on our own. We got to run on our own.
mm,
And
mm,
you know, the
mm.
NCAA mandates certain hours, and we talk about that. You know, that doesn't mean they can't, you know, take it upon them, and they do. And that's what all the good players do, is they, you know, they understand that they got to supplement their own work ethic with you know, what the NCAA allows in terms of hours.
No, I love it, man. And I mean, how hard is that? How tough is that transit? Again, I'm talking about the fall, but some of these kids are used to some really good programs where they have structured lifts and they're working out a lot more than I'm sure when we played. You know what I mean? I'm probably older than you, but it's one of those. now, like you said, 3 days to live, you think you just do the required stuff is enough, right? But, how often do you have to say to a kid, hey, are you doing a little bit extra? Are you in the cages enough? Or, if 8 to 10 freshmen come in there, how many are really prepared for, the schedule, the school, and the extra lifts and the extra workouts, the extra time in the cage? How many kids are truly ready for that?
I would say less. I would say probably less than half. Every kid comes in with varied skill sets. Some kids are able to get work done in their dorm. Some kids needs to go to the library. Some kid needs structured study hall. So on the academic side, you get a varied skill sets, and then on the baseball side, same thing. Depending on their high school program, their AAU program, who they've worked with in the past, the conversations they've had with those people in terms of what hard work looks like and what routines look like. It definitely varies, but that's part of our job is to help these guys navigate and understand, if they want to get paid to play, you got to do things that other people aren't willing to do, and it's one thing to come in and say that, and that's great. But, that's one thing I've been fortunate to work with, a decent amount of guys who have been drafted. And I say it all the time. These guys were pros before I ever got to work with them. But what it's afforded me the ability to do is see what they do and see what they have in common. And one thing that I can say, every person that every player I've coached that's gotten paid to play and play pro ball has, for lack of a better term, been borderline addicted to the weight room. And that's the one, whether it was a pitcher, a middle infielder, a 6'3" catcher, a speedy center, it didn't matter. They had and it was all different, but they had their routines and they stuck to it. And so I think it allows, having getting to work with guys like that allows you to pass that information on and tell little stories about, hey, I saw a first rounder I coached once in the ninth inning as a pop up to second, and he was on first, and he literally sprinted and scored because the guy dropped it from first base. And it's like, if a first rounder can do that, that's why he's a first rounder. But that's why these guys are who they are, And so I think it's great having experiences working with guys at that level, because then I can share information on, the knowledge I learned from them. So, as a coach, that it's a two-way street, man. I'm still learning. I pick our guys' brains. When I was coaching summer ball, I love coaching summer ball. There'd be 30 guys from 30 different rosters across the country. I got to learn from 30 different hitting and pitching coaches if I asked the right questions. So, I think as a coach, your ability and desire to continue to learn, it's important, because if not, you're going to get passed by, and the players see it. The players see that you're trying to continue to learn and do what you can to help them get better.
It's funny you say that, because I was talking to a friend of mine 2 days ago, and we were just talking about different things and coaching and stuff like that. And I was telling him about experts and all these experts that are out here, right? And coaching, I don't want to get into it too tough. Maybe some guests on the show that I may offend, but my thing is, I don't believe that certain positions don't mix as far as expertise. You know what I'm saying? Because it's all and somebody like myself, I remember, I tell this story all the time. I remember when I got into the youth baseball space, and it was my first time like really coaching. I did camps and stuff, but I did the base running, the stuff that I knew. But when it got to being like cutoff and relays and bump plays and stuff, now here I am. I'm coaching some 12 and 13-year-old kids, right? And I'm just like, all right, so, and all of a sudden I'm just like, oh my God, what does the infield do? What is the and their parents are looking at me crazy, right? You know what I'm saying? And they're like, you don't know, and I'm like, I really don't know this. Like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? It took a high school coach to kind of, tell me whatever, because I'm used to playing my position.
You know what to do for your exactly. And that happens all the time. It happens all the time where guys know for their particular position, but they don't know why. That's the big thing is why. Why are we doing that? If you can understand why, I feel it helps so much for them to make adjustments on the fly and to get a concept for what we're trying to do. So why are we putting this bump play on here? Why is the third baseman holding? Why are we trying to bunt it down first with a runner on first? And if we can help explain the why, I think that definitely helps them get a better understanding of what they're trying to accomplish.
All right. You're absolutely correct, man. And that's why
Yeah,
I was piggybacking off you saying you never stop
yeah,
learning. And that's what I was
yeah,
telling my man. Like, listen, I was learning from my high school
yeah,
coach, and I'm
yeah,
like, he's telling me where the infield position needs to be, and he's looking at me like, man, I'm like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm learning from you right now. He
yep,
thought he just got a kick out of that. But I would teach
yep,
him the hitting, the base running, and stuff that I
sure.
feel like I really, really know. But like the situation with different positions and bump plays for pitchers and stuff like that, I had to literally learn, go on YouTube, also to ask coaches that never played past high school, like, hey, what do you do here? You know what I'm saying? So it is a never learning. You're always learning.
Well, that's when I said earlier about having kind of had to be an assistant and kind of grind. I think that's required because if you just jump into a head coaching job, there's things you're going to oversee or overlook and not realize it. And then when it comes time to have to teach it, you're like, I don't know how to teach this, And so
Mm,
as an
mm,
assistant, you really got to learn. You got to learn how to run practice. Obviously your head coach for the most part probably writes the practice plan out, but you got to learn how to execute. You got to learn how to teach it. You got to, now you have a head coach to say, coach, what are you looking for here? And you have somebody to kind of ask questions. So I really, that experience as an assistant coach can be so valuable once you do get your experience as a head coach, because there are going to be things you overlook. Still, right now, to this day, there's things I overlook, like, I never thought of that, or I never thought of it that way.
mm,
So yeah, I
mm,
think being an assistant allows you to kind of learn some of those things and not take the lumps maybe you would as a head coach.
mm. Yeah, amen to that. All right. So staffs are extremely important. This guy, I want to know about your core and arm care training for pitchers.
Yeah, I think for us, we don't really have a cookie cutter approach, meaning each kind of individual pitcher will have kind of essentially their own program. Some guys, the way we do it is some guys like weighted ball, some guys don't. And it'll be an individual. We'll have a meeting in the fall before we start, and we'll go over what our overall plan is, and then we'll have an individualized conversation. What have those guys been doing this summer? What have they been doing leading up to the fall? What has their arm issues been in the past? What have they been doing when they're at feeling their best? What are they doing when they feel they're most successful? And so trying to get a gauge for what's just that most helpful for them. At the end of the day, that's our goal as a coaching staff, is to help them be successful, and I try not to have a cookie cutter approach, where everyone's going to throw 120 feet today, or everyone's going to, if a guy's arm's not feeling great, he's not going to long toss that day, and so, what we have, and like I said, it's an individualized approach, but there are guys who do use weight balls. There's guys who do the drive line program. There's guys who long toss more than other guys. It really, it's individualized, and, and for the most part, we try and have those conversations bi-weekly, if not weekly, with guys, just to make sure that everything's on the up and up in terms of their routine.
Mm. All right, love it. Let's go. My son got some interest from your program early this year. Then the pandemic hit. Will you still be recruiting on the West Coast this fall? And D Rob has a kid that is a Cali JUCO kid.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's still a dead period. I want to say they pushed it back to September 30th. So it'll be the same type of thing. We may not be able to physically get out there, but yeah, we'll still be looking at guys. We'll hopefully get some video. If the JUCOs can hopefully have a fall season, that'll give them an opportunity to have some fall numbers and get some more up to date video. And yeah, we're still looking at JUCO guys for next year for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now speaking of camps and stuff, some people are coaching clinic. That period. If you're going on into the season, is there any way for prospects, anything to be able to, find you, get on the campus or anything like that? When I know everything's tough right now, but when just
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't know. Right, like I said, the dead period right now is pushed to September 30th. Our school itself isn't doing any on-campus visits, whether it's baseball, athletics, or even just a regular student. Right now they're just not doing
the
any admissions
students are not
visits.
on
Yeah.
campus neither.
So our students are moving into the residence halls next week. They're going to be moving in, but like like admissions isn't doing any campus tours for high school seniors, even if they're non-athletes, so right now we're kind of in a holding pattern that way, but once the dead period's lifted, hopefully we'll be able to get, we'll get a bunch of guys on campus, and that's all we can do right now is just kind of continue to recruit, and then once they lift it, we'll do a bunch of tours and a bunch of visits.
All right. Tony says, which data collection device do you use? Rapsodo, Blast, what other one? I know you said you mentioned Driveline, and do you use Rapsodo for pitching and hitting, or just pitching? What?
So we actually don't. We're working. I'm working with the softball coach. We're to get the Rapsodo for this year. We didn't have it this past year, and so that's one thing we're doing for this year at Upgrade is we're getting the Rapsodo to get our pitchers on it. And we do a lot of video. To be honest, we do a lot of video. Hitters looking at themselves in video, pitchers. We have like a little media center where after they take a couple swings, we'll do kind of almost stations where they'll hit. And then, after they hit, they'll come over and take a look at their swing with the coach and kind of go over some things. And then they'll go back and hit again to try and make some adjustments. I think is important for guys to see themselves and also see themselves with another coach there. We'll have classroom sessions before and kind of almost teach guys how to watch video. It's one thing to say, hey, watch your swing. Well, what are we watching? So we'll watch Mike Trout. We'll watch some big leaguer. I like Robinson Cano from the left side. We'll watch some guys from both sides. And so we'll watch big league swings. We'll say, okay, here's what we're looking. Here's a checkpoint. Here's where he gets to at launch. Here's how whatever it is, right? His barrel gets in the zone, and almost teaching them, what to watch for. Because sometimes I think, say, okay, let's watch. What do you see? And they're just kind of seeing their swing and not necessarily understanding what they're looking for, and so I think to educate them on how to watch video and what to look for is important if we're going to use video as much as we do.
You know what? That is great information. And truth be told, I'm just full of confessions right now. I got all the way to the major leagues, and that's when the kind of video was huge, and coming on. We're talking early 2000s and stuff, and that's when they started first hiring video people. Then what I'm saying, like that wasn't this kind of common now with all these other devices and stuff like that to have all the quality controls people and stuff. But at that particular time, that was a new thing in the late 90s, early 2000s to hire video guys. And so when I would go over there, I would struggle on like what I'm like, my swing looks good. Like I would feel certain things, and then I look at the video, I'm like, I'm something ain't right. I know something ain't right because I'm so there, but I'm looking at it and I don't know, I don't see nothing wrong with my stroke, So I love what you said. To teach kids how to look at video.
Yeah, like you said, man, you got to be able to correlate what you're feeling with what you're seeing, and so that's one thing as a coach we don't know ever is what the guy, what are guys feeling, and so we'll ask, hey, how'd that feel? What'd that feel like? And then when they're able to put together, combine what they're feeling and then seeing it, it just helps them make adjustments a little bit quicker. That's all.
All right. Good thing. All right. So, now we talk, speaking of kids and videos and stuff like that. So, because you're, right there in right outside of New York City, good academic school and everything like that. Where is the base of your kids coming from? And you just said my boy D Rob said you guys reached out to him way out in California, man. So tell me a little about your recruiting base and how far out you guys are going, man.
We're going. We at this point, we're recruiting at a national level. I think with New York City so close, there's a little bit of a wow factor almost the further you go from Jersey in terms of recruiting. Where, we some guys we recruit from North Jersey and we're like, oh, we're right by the city, and they're like, wow, we've been there. I've been here my whole life. That's great. Where maybe a kid from California came out to the city when he was 12 with his family, had great experience, loved it. This is a great opportunity for them to come back and have that experience. So I have found that the further we do get from the city, the more of almost a wow factor there is. And that's what we're definitely selling that because there are a lot of great opportunities that do come with the city. And so, in terms of even for this class, we got guys from the Midwest, Florida, Texas, And then the tri-state area as well, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut. So we're looking all over, man. If there's, it doesn't matter what part of the country they're from. We even have a couple Canadians, so it really, honestly, whoever's looking for an opportunity to compete, we're all about it. So it doesn't matter where they're from.
I sometimes I get it enamored. I don't know the word. I'm because I in my mind I think St. Peter's. I'm thinking like you guys are like 50, 60 miles in and around the New York area. This New York, northern New Jersey area, and that's where you're plucking your kids from. And you may go down to South Jersey a little bit, Connecticut a little bit, but sometimes the smaller the schools and the more whatever, you guys are like extremely spread out type of thing, which I think that's great. You have a Texas, a Florida, especially my most of my people that listen in are down in the southeast to Texas area. You know what I'm saying? In that, and obviously a little bit of New York, me being from up there, but it's I like to hear that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just it helps. These parents think, oh, it's in New Jersey. I don't. It's cold. It's this. It's that. But what I'm saying, you're saying, yo, we're plucking kids from Cali and Texas and whatever. And I'm sure those guys, they have to love when I'm sure that like you said, it has that wild thing. Like, God, I didn't realize it was right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sure that skyline is crazy when you're playing on the field, man.
It really is. No, it is. And like I said, it's what you make of the opportunity. If you want to go, go to your dorm, hit, lift, and then kind of go back to your dorm, that could be your experience. But a lot of it is what you make of it and the opportunities and the resource, using the resources and networking. And, we encourage all those things because that's a big part, I think, of the whole college process is just building yourself as a complete individual, not just on the field, off the field as well. And the more well-rounded you are when you leave, the better job I think we did as a coaching staff.
All right. Chipper asks, do you use Twitter at all?
Yeah.
How can kids from out of state find, Coach Pro?
Yeah, I have Twitter at Lou Proietti. Obviously my bio on the website, my email's there as well. We're, like I said, we are continuing to look. We're still looking at the 2021 class. Obviously, we got the 22s as well. So, the way our recruiting works, we're a tick behind some of the Power 5 schools where they'll be getting some earlier 23s, 24 commits. We're still in the mix with 21s and 22s. That's kind of the shuffle down effect of Division I, where the Power 5s get guys real early, and then we're just a little bit later in the process. But so that's where we're at right now. We're looking at 21s and 22s.
All right. Well, that's good. I mean, 21s. That's good to know, right? I mean,
yep.
Most of the D1 programs that are coming on are like, we're different. We're on to the 22, 23s, and I have a lot of parents that are 2021s right now that are talented kids, and I know personally that don't have a place to play right now, and they're a little bit worried, and so it's good to hear from you, a D1 coach, and playing in a good conference, and obviously great school, that you're still looking. So I'm sure you should get some videos and stuff coming, and I may have a few players for you. We got
I'll be reaching out after the show for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. At Lou Proietti, that's the Twitter, right?
How you spell my name? Just no space. Yep.
All right, cool. All right, let me post that on here as we speaking now. All right. So for those kids that can't come from out of state and everything, where are you finding these kids? Are you going to, on a normal year? Obviously this year is, it's crazy, but are you heading to showcases? Are you having them? Like how does that dynamic work? Where are you finding these kids type of, from Texas and Florida, or even hell at home?
Yeah. Well, I think it first starts with relationships with people I know, with a network I build of coaches who I can trust, and it starts with there. So they'll recommend guys, and then from there it's up to us to kind of do our legwork, and we'll talk to, whether it's their high school coach. I even like talking to their teachers, because I think when we talk to their teachers, you get a sense, because it's funny with teachers, they won't
they won't punch punches. Where a coach may kind of sugarcoat some things sometimes, a teacher will be like, yeah, no, he's great. He works real hard. Or, he doesn't always, whatever it is. Right. And so
Right.
it's great to have feedback from a variety of people. And the way kind of we're working the recruiting scene now, we have to, because we can't, like you said, you can't be there. So trying to, get as many recommendations and credible recommendations as possible is the key. But yeah, typically it starts with, with different, relationships. And then, yeah, normally we'll go to showcases. Where we are in Jersey, there's Diamond Nation, which is about 45 minutes south of us. It's like a 4-field complex that's always running tournaments throughout the summer. We'll head down the East Coast. We'll go up to New England. We haven't been down to Georgia. We didn't go down to Georgia last summer. But that's something moving forward we're going to look to do. So, all the kind of big events that we can get to, we try to get to, and then as many showcases along the way as well.
All right. I had a question for you. I got stumped by a comment that just came in there, but I had a question for you based on what you were saying with the recruiting and going to the showcase. Oh yeah. Okay. So and we'll talk after this, but it's just a shameless plug to plug it online right now. I may be pulling on something next summer out there up in the Northeast, and I will be. I already know I'm going to be reaching out to you, and I've been talking to a few Jersey and some of my New York, the New York coaches over there that I've known forever. All right. So I make sure to reach out to you, man, and we'll put something on next summer. So it's going to be really big, and I'm excited. Give me a chance to go back and see some Northeast ball players. So, but I'll definitely look out and show you and tell you that and be in contact with you. All right. Coming in as a new coach to a program striving to be competitive in the MAC, and then getting hit with the pandemic, how do you keep up a team morale? Also, regarding recruiting, how do you engage with possible recruits that have visited the colleges with better facilities?
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously it's been tough for everybody getting hit with the pandemic. I mean, the hardest thing I had to do as a coach is tell some seniors their careers were over, and that was, we talked about being an assistant, man. There was no guide for that. There was no handbook for how to handle that. So yeah, it's tough. And especially when you really care about guys, it's even tougher. Right. And so that part of it was hard. And so, with the unknown, we just told, the guys that were returning, go find a way to get better. And for a couple months, it was tough because everything was kind of locked down, and slowly things started to open up. And I think morale's getting back to where it is. I think being transparent with guys and just being real with them and letting them know the fall's not going to look like normal. It's not going to be a normal fall. So I think setting the expectations is important for morale. But also the fact if we can get on the field, these guys are chomping at the bit now. They haven't been together since March. And so if we are able to get out this fall, which knock on wood right now it's looking like we can, I think they'll be real excited. And I know the coaches are real excited. In terms of recruiting, and facilities, I think our biggest focus is kind of control what we can control, and one thing we provide at St. Peter's is an opportunity to compete at the Division I level, and for anyone that's wanted that opportunity, I think that's what we can provide, and so we have all the facilities that we need to compete and produce professionals and win a MAC championship. We have an indoor cage. We have a bubble above our gym that we're able to practice in, and then we obviously have our field with the kind of the cage at the field as well. And so we don't have like a 10,000 seat stadium. It's not necessarily the most glamorous setup, but we have everything that you need to do to get to the next level. And if all you're looking for is that opportunity, that's what we can provide for you, and that's what we will provide for you. So that's what we sell. We sell that. We sell the opportunity and to compete at the Division I level, and we sell the opportunity to grow outside of the field as well. In the classroom and with all the opportunities that come with New York City.
All right. Since you are a new coach, are you trying to win now or play younger players and develop the younger players?
Both, ideally. I think,
for me, it's the lineup is established in practice, and that's another reason that I won't necessarily talk playing time with parents is because they're not at practice every day. They're not in the weights, they're not in the weight room at 6 a.m. with us, seeing who's grinding it out and who's dogging it, and so for me, it's the lineup is established in practice and who performs in practice. So we're going to put the best 9 guys on the field. For me, it doesn't matter if they're, a freshman or a senior. If they've earned the right to start, they're going to start, and we'll use our best judgment accordingly.
All right. Let me get here. My boy says CABA in Australia. Would he come here to look at a player in Australia? We way out in Australia, Coach.
I would. I mean, that's I got to see what the recruiting budget looks like. But I mean, in terms of desire to go to Australia, absolutely, I would go anywhere. We would be, it would be a budget limitation, if anything. But in terms of looking at Australian players, I know they got some guys down there. I had a buddy who I played with growing up. He ended up moving down to Australia and played in the pro league down there. So, I know there's some guys that can play. Whether it's feasible financially through the school, I don't know, but we would definitely take a look in terms of players for sure.
Okay. All right. So listen, we're coming up on that right at an hour, Coach, and I appreciate your time and everything, man. So we got enrollment, we got camps and lack thereof. We have conference. We have Jay Meyer did ask this question. He came in late, and let me get it to you. You already said it, but he had come on late. So I got on a little late. What is tuition to your school for out of state, and what are your scholarship situation?
Yeah, so like I said, it's roughly the sticker price $52,000, but academically, our school does a great job giving lucrative academic packages. And then baseball wise, we have baseball scholarships, and they're partially funded. We're partially funded, so we would supplement baseball money on top of the academic package and package those together.
Coach, could you explain? Because hell, I just found this out in the last couple of years of speaking with you guys what partially funded means. Okay, so what does that mean to the listeners looking in when a coach says, we are partially funded? What does that mean?
So fully funded is 11.7 scholarships. We don't have 11.7. Basically, it's having less than the full amount. And so you can spread that out through 27 individuals. So we just have less than 11.7 to spread out through 27 guys.
All right. I think going once, going twice. Parents, I want to make sure. Listen. For my listeners that are on here, all right, a few things. This is the shout out, set portion of the show, and then we're gonna have Coach Pro take us out with a message. But 6-week masterclass, all right. Sign up for that. I had a couple people sign up because of their 2021s, and in the situation that they're trying to find that out, what to do. All right, I've been on the phone with a few parents the last few days from all over the country. 6-week masterclass. The link is here. For showcase camps, okay? I will be announcing the locations and the times. All right, I already kind of got the schools. We just kind of, coordinate everything. Of course, Coach has told you he's a D1 school, and D1s are not opening up anytime soon. So these will be NAIA programs at junior college. All right, still looking for 2021s. Like coaches still, all right? Too bad, it just sucks that he can't bring nobody on. But again, that's why you have connections like myself, and again, I will, relay those messages to Coach for dudes that can play and find out his needs. We're going to talk after this. Then we have camps in the summer. Just kind of mentioned that. We're well ahead of that. And then tomorrow we have Lane College, Coach Patrick Barbour coming on. All right, from Lane College tomorrow at 4 p.m. All right, so those are the plugs. And also go over to Dee Brown Baseball at YouTube, and I need some more subscribers over there. All right, I've been doing this hard, and I've strictly been on Facebook for over the last month or so. So let's go subscribe over there to YouTube. All right, Coach. You know, I got to get my plugs in, man. You know how this goes, right? So,
Yep.
all right. But Coach, if you could, man, for my listeners that are listening and still hanging in there with us, all right. I always have all my guests just end with some type of message that can help, parents, or talk about the school or anything like that, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think I even, and especially now being in the pandemic, it can be a stressful situation, stressful experience, both financially and just making sure it's a good fit. But at the end of the day, you want to be comfortable with your decision in terms of fit and enjoy the experience. These 4 years go fast. I know even parents, they get close with other parents. It's a big family, and so you want to make sure that both your son and you as a family feel comfortable with whatever school you do send your son to. But at the end of the day, it's about making relationships and building a network and making the most of the experience, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. You miss spring break, you miss a lot of different things, but man, is it all worth it when you come together as a group and win a championship, go to a regional, get to play pro ball, whatever it is. All that hard work and sacrifice is worth it, and the experience itself teaches so many valuable lessons that are transferable throughout everything that guys do. And so regardless, whatever school it is, if you're able to compete in college athletics in general, I feel there's so many great transferable skills that you learn through working with teammates, failure, adversity, how to handle success. Just enjoy it. And I would just say enjoy the experience, because it goes fast.
I ain't gotta say no more. He explained everything, man. Awesome message, brother. Thank you, man. Let's go. And we're gonna end this here. We enjoy watching my son and his team playing for SPU last few years. Best of luck next year, Coach. We look forward to following the team next year. All right.
That's great.
All right. So listen, appreciate you, Coach, man. Learning more about St. Peter's and out there in Jersey. So the Twitter was up there. And if you have, you have a kid that's talented enough that you feel could play at a D1 level, reach out to him via Twitter or myself, and I'll give you a fair evaluation, at least through video. All right? Don't waste Coach's time. But I didn't mean to say that like that. But anyway, tomorrow we'll be on at 4 p.m. tomorrow. All right. I love you guys, man. Thank you guys for listening in. All right, we're going to finish out this week strong, man. And Coach, I appreciate you coming on, man, and sharing that knowledge, man.
Dee, thanks a lot for having me. It was a pleasure. Anytime, man. We'll be in touch soon.
No doubt about it. All right, man. Listeners, tomorrow, 4 p.m. Love you guys, man. Talk to you later. Peace.
Thanks, Dee. See you.
Yep.